When she woke, she could still taste smoke on her tongue, though the night was not yet cold enough to pretend it meant anything but the dream it had been. In that dream she was married to a baron. Aldrich, broad-shouldered, with a shrug that suggested the world was someone else's trouble. That afternoon in the city an old mill had caught, a thatch roar, a black mouth of flame. Aldrich watched it as one watches a theater fire, interested at a distance and not in a hurry. Their house was an estate that shouldn't have fit the map, miles of molded limestone, halls like echoing rivers, staircases that turned inside themselves, windows long as coffins, rooms with ceilings high enough to hang storms from. The children, two small, solemn things with pumpkin cheeks, had been in the great kitchen with staff carving gourds and pinning paper bats to rafters. Nannies tied wisps of hair with ribbon and hummed old ballads none of them remembered learning. Aldrich vanished soon after they crossed the threshold. One moment he stood by the tapestry, adjusting the cuff of some embroidered coat as if bothered by the world. The next he was simply not there. The distant orange blot became a cathedral of flame. Sparks blew on the wind like dead fireflies. Nearby buildings smoldered and then caught. Roofs collapsed like chests giving up breath. She ran. The mansion's rooms stretched and multiplied underfoot. Odor of beeswax and old books, rugs that swallowed footsteps. And she ran through them all, calling Aldrich's name until it trembled into curtains. A nanny with hands thick from tending breakfasts carved a pumpkin as if nothing had changed. A boy with flour on his cheek laughed when she burst in. She saw the world as one who has been shown a fault line. Someone brushed her sleeve with a gentle, puzzled hand and asked if she was unwell. Outside, embers fell like tiny unwound suns. They clustered on the grass like a smaller meteor shower. She snatched a ceramic pitcher from the porch and found it empty. There was no water, because there was never quite enough when panic arrives polite and late. She stamped and flung dirt. A yard that had been manicured to deny weather became a field of cinder and desperate, careless hands. Across the lane a dozen figures crouched amid a ring of small flames. Fishermen, net-brown knuckled, glimmered in singed shirts as if sculpted from soot. Neighbors and farmers pressed wet cloths to faces, tried to pat out iron-cold burns. She left the pitcher to its ceramic echo and ran to help. One man was pinned beneath a collapsed cart, his leg a red bloom. She tugged at the cart with a strength she had never known she owned when Aldrich found her. He arrived not with apology, but with the offended look of a man whose evening had been spoiled by someone else's drama. He asked what she was doing, as if she were a child rummaging through other people's pockets. His voice held more irritation for her floaty dress than for the flames. He gloved his hands, not to help, but to smooth his linen, as if the arrangement of his collar could reorder calamity. "Have you seen?" she began,